Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Around the Clock. For those who are new to the channel, my name is John and my personal goal is to own, experience, and modify as many unique cars as possible. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you my newest experience. And here it is behind me. It is a 2007 Porsche Carrera, or 911 Carrera 4S. Now, for those kind of wondering, why I ended up selling my silver 911 just to get back into another 11, I will go ahead and explain the differences between the two, what made me select this, what the car is, and what my future plans are for it. So, to kind of jump right into it, as I mentioned, this is an 07 Carrera 4S. Now, just right off the bat, to start off with the difference between this car and my silver one was a 2006 Porsche Carrera, also known as a C2. C stands for Carrera, 2 stands for rear wheel drive. This is a C4S, which stands for Carrera 4 for all wheel drive, and then it is an S model. My first one was a base, this one is an S. Now for those who aren't familiar with Porsches, here's the difference. So my silver one was a 3.6 liter flat 6 naturally aspirated that produced 325 horsepower from the factory. This one right here is a 3.8 liter flat 6 that produces 355 horsepower from the factory. Now for those who know me, you know that aesthetics is my highest priority, and that is the most important thing to me. And the silver one that I had is what they refer to as a narrow body car. So if you look at the rear hips, it is more narrow compared to this one. Now, whether it's a base Carrera 9971 or a Carrera S, they are both narrow body. Once you step into the all-wheel drive platforms such as the C4, C4S, or the turbo model, that is when you'll get the wide body. So it's about 1.75 inches wider in the rear compared to the narrow body. Now, I will say that the silver one, with the last video that I put out of it, you guys know that I was wrapping up all of the aesthetic details that I wanted to do to the car. And the thing is once I was done, I ended up putting a feeler out there just to see what kind of offers I would get, and somebody ended up buying the car right away, and it is somebody that follows both my social media and the channel, so huge thank you to you for all the support. But basically, I'll run you through the story on how, when I decided I wanted a wide body. So a few weeks ago, I was with some of my friends, P-Car friends, and we went to one of our favorite local gatherings in the area. It is Katie's Cars and Coffee in Great Falls, Virginia. For those who may not be familiar with what that is, where it's at, it is in Loudoun County, Virginia, and Loudoun County is one of the wealthiest counties in the country. And what that translates to is you have a lot of unique stuff come out to those events. And for me, going to events, it's all about the atmosphere. There are several other events in this area that are huge and have all kinds of different vehicles. However, when it's just in a parking lot, it doesn't feel as special. But for whatever reason, the atmosphere at Katie's is one of our favorites. And after attending the gathering, we went to grab some brunch. And my friend actually had this car built, and it was our first time kind of meeting, so I could see it in person. And he had parked side by side with my silver one. Now, people say narrow body, people say wide body. I didn't quite notice the difference until they were parked side by side. The fact that it has these super aggressive wheels on it, or the stance of it, really kind of made the wide body stand out even more. And at that moment, I knew that I wanted to have a wide body vehicle, whether it's a C4, C4S, or it could be a turbo, even though I really don't care that much about performance. But that is kind of the moment when I knew that I wanted a C4S. So now we'll go ahead and we'll go walk through the car, and I'll give you a tour to kind of go over all the details and everything with this specific car. Now here she is. I mean, this thing looks so good. Now I will say, When I initially decided that I wanted a C4S, I really wanted a more unique or bright color like red or yellow or blue, maybe even white, just because I've already owned a silver and black 997 Carrera. But, you know, after looking at this car as a whole, it was a no-brainer to me. So to kind of go over, you know, this particular build, so when my friend Steve first got this car, you know, it was pretty much a bone stock C4S. I believe it had a set of HRE FF series wheels on it, might have been lowered, but otherwise it was pretty much in factory form. Now, he ended up bringing the car to a pretty reputable shop here in Maryland that is known for doing LS swaps on these vehicles, but they can also do kind of your basic maintenance. And that shop is Chavis Performance Engineering, or CPE. I will put their information down below in the description, but the owner, Tyler Chavis, is very well known for his work with these cars and just being very meticulous and not putting anything, you know, cheap on the car. So to kind of go over this build, to start, I will say that the car currently has about 114,000 miles on the odometer. Now, my last one, the silver one that I had, only had 33,000 miles. But with that being said, for me, I actually prefer cars with miles. I prefer cars that have been driven. As long as they have the maintenance records to support the mileage, then, you know, that is actually what I would prefer. But I will say that that was a huge selling point for me, the fact that everything had kind of been gone through. And I don't want to say everything, but a lot of maintenance was done. And just to kind of include some of the work that was done was the clutch was replaced, the flywheel throw-up bearing, coils, spark plugs, a new AOS, which is the air to oil separator, new fuel lines, new vacuum lines, stainless steel clutch cables. I know it has the numeric shifter, which I really enjoyed in my silver one, torque solutions engine mounts, new coolant, all new fluids, oil, trans fluid. I think one of the horns were out, so that was replaced. It has Renline adjustable sway bar links, GT3 sway bars front and rear, third radiator GT3 upgrade, and a lot more stuff. New rotors, new pads. So, you know, engine out service, a lot of things were replaced. Now, to kind of jump into my favorite part, and the thing that we're all looking at, is the aesthetics. So to start out with the front, the car also had the aero front bumper added. Now, for those who aren't familiar with these cars, the difference between a GT3 front bumper and the aero is the GT3 normally has a grille over here in this area up front. My silver one had an OEM GT3 bumper, and it had that grille. Some people call it like you know, a smiley face or something like that, but it has OEM GT3 front with a brand new OEM GT3 front lip as well. Now, one of the biggest modifications on this car that I'm absolutely in love with are these wheels. So for those who aren't familiar with these, this is a staggered set of 19-inch Workmeister S1 three-piece. And I'm getting hungry, 3 pieces of chicken. So what I really like about this is not only just, you know, the step lip, the silver finish, it just gives the car a very clean look, but I actually love the gold hardware along the edge. And I think it just really makes this car just stand out even more. And I will say the fitment of this car is nearly perfect. I know the previous owner had spent a lot of time, you know, kind of dialing that in and just ensuring that it had the perfect, you know, stance. And for me, I like my cars to not be tucking, but basically no wheel gap. So if you try to stick your finger between the top of the tire and between the fender, you basically can't fit your finger in there. So no wheel gap, and that was perfectly executed. So, you know, huge shout out to the last owner that did that. So moving right along, as you can tell, the car is obviously lowered, and it is on a set of Bilstein PSS10 coilovers, which are very nice. The car rides extremely smooth. The dampening, everything has been adjusted prior to me getting it. I haven't tampered with it, but I will say that it definitely rides better than the silver 911 that I had prior to this. Now moving along to the rear, this is another one of my favorite modifications on this specific car, and that is a 9971 GT3 rear bumper. And what's really awesome about this is it also has the center exit exhaust. So normally on standard Carreras, it will have dual exhaust tips that are kind of on the sides, but you know, this car actually has a custom center exit exhaust, and it sounds really good, especially compared to my silver one. My silver one had the Gundo mod done to the exhaust, which is basically a modification to the factory mufflers, but it definitely wasn't as loud, didn't have as much of a tone as this. This is much louder, but it sounds really good. What I also love about this rear is, you know, on my silver one, it had the rear bumperettes, right? And then I just put the plate to kind of cover up the holes where the bumperettes normally are. Since this is a replacement GT3 rear bumper, it's already built in. So the bumperettes were already deleted, which is huge. So moving right along, the other aesthetic upgrade that we have here is also this GT3 RS style deck lid and wing. And I will say that it looks extremely clean. As you know, with the silver one, we ended up doing this third brake light delete panel, but this one's already done. So it's one less thing that I have to do. Now, kind of moving on to the inside of the car. Unlock it. Moving on to the inside of the car. It is very clean, and kind of talking about the differences between my silver one and this one. This is the S model. So not only do you get the bump in horsepower, but you also get aesthetic upgrades, right? So, for example, the dash in this car is leather. These panels are leather. You know, overall, it's just, it feels a little more premium on the inside of this versus the base that I had before. I believe the original sticker on this car was around 100,000 new back in 07. So it was a very well-spec'd car. Another option that people normally like on these cars is the Sport Chrono, and it normally sits up here. It looks like a clock or something, but to me, I just, you know, for aesthetics, I guess it looks fine. I never used it when I had it in my first Carrera S. But anyway, just to go back to the modifications on the interior, the previous owner had added this lower glove box piece in Alcantara. You also have this shift knob in black Alcantara. And then also, this is an upgraded radio that has like wireless CarPlay. I will say that this radio is like an Android base. It's not the upgraded PCM Plus from Porsche. But one of the nice things about this radio, I had a very similar one in my Maserati Gran Turismo. And one of the nice things is sometimes you have these radios and they have knobs on the side, right? And that's great. However, that takes away from space where you could have the screen. So what I love about this is the screen is very big. However, to access the volume controls, you do have to kind of touch the screen. You swipe down and kind of adjust it here and there. But, you know, not often am I really messing around with the volume. And also, I just love how clean it looks. And like I said, it is running off like an Android program, like you connect your phone through, I believe it's called Z-Link. I had a very similar radio in one of my older RAV4 daily drivers, and it works fine, it works good. I would imagine the PCM would probably be a little more seamless, give you a little bit better, you know, audio quality. But, you know, for the money, I think these radios are very popular. I believe this is the one that you can get off like AliExpress. You know, I think they're maybe around $350, $400, but definitely a huge upgrade compared to the, you know, factory radio. It's really nice to have CarPlay, and in addition to that, kind of have it be wireless. So that is pretty much the car and everything that has been done to it. Now, to kind of go over plans with this car, you know, it's really not much. Just like the silver car, the major things are already done. And when I say the major things, I'm referring to price point, you know, because when it comes to suspension, when it comes to wheels, and it comes to kind of doing, you know, replacement bumpers and aero and things like that, it can get very expensive. Those are probably some of the most expensive things that you're going to be doing when modifying these cars. But like the silver one, it was a very good kind of canvas to build off of. So the things that I plan to do to this car will not be major. So to kind of walk you through my plans, as many of you know, I love the lighting upgrades that you can get from Morimoto. So I did order the whole Morimoto lighting package for the 997, and that includes the XB headlights, that includes the smoke side markers, and also the taillights in the rear. Now, they do offer them in smoked and red. I decided to go with red as I think it flows well with the red calipers. Another one of the upgrades that I decided to do on this car is because it has the GT3 front and has the GT3 rear, I thought that the sides needed something to kind of, you know, flow together with that. So I did order a set of OEM GT2 rocker panels for this car, and I do intend to have them color matched along with the front lip. Those are probably the more, you know, the bigger modifications that I'm going to be doing. Everything else is kind of a little bit smaller, such as these kind of daytime running lights here. These run off standard bulbs. Historically, on my other 997s, I had done a LED upgrade, and I decided to do that again, but I will say the ones that I've done previously were chrome housing. And then when I recently looked at them, I saw that they made a smoked finish. Now, that being said, I'm not usually a fan of smoke lighting. However, the Morimoto headlights are black housing, and then they have kind of this same silver finish along the edge. And with the theme of this car kind of being black and silver, I think that it will flow well between the black housing headlights and the silver ring, and then kind of like a smoked LED daytime running light. So it's more black housing smoked, and I'm just gonna see what it looks like. And if for whatever reason I'm not super crazy about it, I did get like a yellow vinyl to go over the light, because I think that the yellow will bring out the gold from the wheels. Everything will just kind of flow together seamlessly. So that is another thing that is on order. Also, the crest. This one you can tell is showing a little bit of age, and that's okay. It is an 07. So I did order the silver and black one that I actually put on my last 911, as I think it will flow with the theme of this car, as I mentioned, silver and black. And then kind of coming around to the car, I mean, that is pretty much it. Other than that, I mean, I'm going to tint the windows, but you know, the car has already been paint corrected. It's been ceramic coated, so that's been really nice. I normally have to do that anytime I get a car, so it was really nice to kind of be able to jump into this and not have to worry about that step of the process. But overall, I absolutely love this car. I'm ecstatic to have a wide body, all-wheel drive model, and you know, I'm super excited to have these wheels. These are like my dream wheels. And it's nice that it's all already done, and the spec of it is, you know, nearly perfect. So let me know what you guys think. That is pretty much it for today's video. Let me know what you think about the car. Let me know what you think about the plans, if there's anything else that I should consider. Otherwise, I appreciate all of your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.